Hello guys, Elsa here from Time to Invest. Today is February the 8th, 2017. This video is a compilation of the bankruptcy of a couple of stores in Australia. Um, as you can see in my screen, I've got the Payless shoes to close with 730 jobs lost in Australia. So most of us know the shop called Payless Shoes. They're everywhere in Australia, and it's going down as well. So I'll just quickly read you guys what it says in here. Only 11 days from Christmas, more than 730 people have been told that they will lose their jobs after the administration of Failing Shoes retailer Payless Shoes failed to attract and accepted a bid for our business. So it means that 132 Payless Shoes stores in Australia will close by the end of February. The shock is to close the largest stores retailers comes hot, and it heals off the collapse and imminent closure of children's wear company Pumpkin Patch, with a loss of 1,600 jobs in Australia and New Zealand. And last week fell to Howard Stores Wall. Last weekend, doomed to a hardware chain, Masters closed its doors for the last time, although the large proportion of 5,500 workers employed by the chain were redeployed into Woolies. As you can see here, most of the stores in Australia, it's pretty much going bankrupt. And I've got a video that I was talking about the Dick Smith chain store that went bankrupt last year. And I told you guys there will be more stores going bankrupt this year, and there'll be more next year. So first we had the Dick Smith, and then we had the Masters, and the Woolworths almost went bankrupt, but they've closed the Masters, and most of their employees been kind of shift over to work at Woolies again. So this one, this store has been here it's been in Australia since I believe 1980s. Um, latest retail comes about 1980. This store has been, there you go. Payless Shoes began in 1980 and grew stores network over the next 3 decades. In 2013, after going into administration, the business at this time comprising around 150 stores was sold to Payless Shoes, sold in US. Payless Shoes sold into America, Discount Footwear's retailers headquarters in Topeka, Kansas, and founded in 1956. Payless employs more than 25,000 staff worldwide, is a privately held company owned by the Golden Gate Capital and Bloom Capital Partners. So, as you can see here, um, this store is closing sometime in February 2017, this month, and 730 jobs lost for the closing of the store, as you can see here. And it's not a bad store, really. It's actually a good store. It's cheap. You can buy, I've bought a few shoes there, two for the price of one, or buy one get one free, and some good deals for kids school shoes. And now it's closing. So how did they not know that those stores are going underwater? They should already know that kind of thing. And the CEOs, they should already forecast, and they could see in advance what's going to happen, which they know, but there's nothing they can do about it. What's killing them is the price of retailers, the price they're paying for the rental of this store, the profit they're making. They cannot pay for the rental and the staff. So the rental is more expensive than the actually stock and the staff itself. So what's the point of having the store open? No point whatsoever. So we move down the bottom here. Let's just read some comments here from Peter. I've said it before and I will remind you again, our wages are out of control compared with most of overseas nations. The reason big loans must be serviced by big incomes. Why? Because we are feeding the housing bubble and stratospheric altitudes. So basically, Australian competitive, you've got to be joking. So basically, and stuff. He's saying obviously the price of houses is so expensive that they have to pay the staff a lot more that they would have paid if they were in a different country like China or Malaysia or Singapore. Uh, they have to be paying the staff a lot more so the staff can pay the rental or the income of their properties here in Australia. So that's a good forecast. You can see that the properties in Australia are very, very expensive, and the middle class people that do get those jobs working in retailers, they're forced to pay them so much so they can service their rent, they can service the bank, their interest, the credit cards, and on and on. And therefore, they cannot afford it, so they're closing the shops. And going a little bit back, that's what Trump is now doing in the United States. So what he's now doing is closing the doors for the overseas investors that want to invest in America. So if you do invest in a shop like this one, for example, in America, right, you get tax discounts and you get tax um, discounts and you get incentives. So you can provide your services in America. But if you ship overseas, like Australia or Indonesia or Europe or Malaysia, then you get taxed a lot, over 85%. So which you're not going to be able to keep the business unless you want to just do it in America. So that's what Australians should be doing as well. See, this company here is basically it's a company owned by the Golden Gate Capital and Boone Capital Partners. So sourcing US. So as you can see, they're sourcing US. So obviously, if with the Trump new policy, this company really have to close down. As you can see here, they really have to close down because they will be paying a huge tax if they're producing the stock in America and they're shipping over to Australia for profit. They have to obviously close here because they're not going to be able to make the money. They have to service the United States first, America comes first, and then any other country. The owners of these shops should be basically they should be change the direction. Instead of being made in America, they should probably being sold, or the Australian investors should be buying it from here, buying from the Americans and keeping in Australia. But because they are all franchise and chain connected with each other, they're probably not possible to buy from the Americans. So that's the reason they're closing. So it means that 132 Payless shoe stores in Australia will close by the end of February. The stock or the shock closure of the large shoes retailers comes hot on the heels of the collapse of imminent closure and Children's wear company Pumpkin Patch is also on the same. Pumpkin Patch is also on the same chain, with the loss of 1,600 jobs in Australia and New Zealand. And last week, the fall of Harrods stores walled as well. So there's more to come, as you can see here. Is going to affect here in Australia. So that's why I keep saying to you guys from my channel, you have to have your own business. You have to create something that's yours, that you have control. If you keep working for somebody or for someone else, you are subject to be sacked and unemployed and not enough income to feed your house, to pay for your bills, and on and on. So Payless Shoes employs more than 25,000 staff worldwide, privately held company. And if we go a little bit back here, all employees entitlement will rank as priority and secure claims and are expected to be paid in full, which is a good thing, but it doesn't really cost them much anyway, because maybe the person or the staff that do work on the stores, they probably earn something around 19 to 20 bucks an hour. So if you do the maths, they've been there for let's say they do 8 hours, um, 2 times 8 is 16, so they get $160 a day, and they probably get around $600 a week. So $600 a week. If they've been there, $600, 6 times 4, which is 4 weeks. It's 6 times 4, 24. So 2,400. They pay tax, so they probably get around 1,900 a month. And all they have to do is pay them for the years that they've been there. So a couple of weeks for each year that they've actually spent in the business. So they probably pocket about five to 6,000, depending if you've been on the business for 5 years, or if you've been on a business for longer than that, you probably pocketing something $600 for each year that you've been working there. Actually, it's not that much. So if you've been there for 5 years, 5 times 6 is 30. So you get $3,000 and see you later. That's what happens with redundancy. We got a couple of comments here. The staff are obviously motivated to work. I'm sure the attitude to leave will see them right. And we saw that on family business 18 months ago. Never again would we go into the business due to all the levels of government, red tape, and association costs plus the all employees and costs. No, they don't want to do that. But the thing is, they went into this business, this example here, Peter, um, sold the family business and 18 months ago, never again, da 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 da. So obviously he went to franchise maybe this chain store, and now the chain store is going down because they have to pay a high value into US because the company is based in US, I believe. Um, so with the new policy that Trump is bringing in, they pretty much gone. And it will be a few more stores that are in the same, are in the same boat. So as you can see, PLS shoes closing with 730 jobs lost. And don't forget, you guys, also we've got the Ford company, Ford cars. It's also about to close this year. Uh, let's just have a quick look at the Ford. Um, Ford cars to close in Australia. And things are just getting worse and worse, really. More than 90 years, there you go. This is just an example. There you go. Ford closes in Australia factories after more than 90 years of making or car making. It's in the same boat. So the Ford is a very good company. I like the Ford cars, as you can see here. And the reason they're closing is because the manufacturing overseas is much, much cheaper than the manufacturer in Australia. So if you have an employee in Australia who's working for Ford, you're looking to pay him at least 2,000 to 2,500 a week. And that's not counting with his superannuation plus his long service plus his super plus, da 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 da. So if you take your business to China or to Malaysia or to Japan or to elsewhere, you won't be paying that kind of amount of money, really, because the properties in some places overseas is much cheaper than Australia. So you are still required to pay them a lot cheaper than $2,500 a week, and they can pay for their houses, the super, everything else, and you make a profit, a big time profit. Sometimes 2 or 3 times more than you get in Australia. So what's the point of keeping the Ford company in Australia if you're going to pay a lot more in taxes here? So in my opinion, the government has to give more incentive to companies like Ford, Payless Shoes, overseas companies. they have to do maybe the same thing that Trump is doing. If you from Australia, you open your company overseas, or your company functions in Australia, you have to have maximum profit reduction tax incentives in Australia in order for you to profit, to pay your staff, and to grow your business, really. Um, so that's my opinion in this page and the page before, and there's more to come. There's other shops who are also under the water. We all know about the Masters. It's been closed down already. Masters shop. It's already been closed, so I don't really think we can find anything here online. Master Home Improvement, pretty much all gone. We all remember the Masters. They've all closed, and most of the staff are moved over to Ago. I wish to thank you all, our customers, staff, and suppliers for their support. The vendor and supplier requires please contact the Woolworths transactions process TPT. So they've gone, they finished. Their website is pretty much closed down and now closed, as you can see. So I'll leave you guys in peace and just think about what you're doing with your ideas, with your business, and if your business is based in Australia or if it's based overseas, you got to be very careful with the new changes that are coming. Specific with the new consecutive order that Donald Trump has signed in the United States. If you have a chain or you invested your money into the overseas companies that are based in America, you're also going to have really huge taxes. Once you produce in America and you ship it overseas or you send it here to Australia, you're going to have to pay a lot of fees and it's not going to make any profit. So maybe you should reconsider a block out, an exit from that investment, unless you reside in the United States and you're only looking to feed the United States customers and expand your business in the United States, it'd be fine. But if you're looking to do it overseas, you will be wasting your time because that's what's going to be happening. They're going to be closing. Unless the government here in Australia do something about it, change things around it here, I don't see much improvements, or give some sort of incentive to overseas companies that are in Australia. Unless they change something, then we all subject to close down. Okay guys, so I'll leave everyone. This is my video for 8th of February 2017, and you all take a good care of yourself, and ciao ciao.